Focus isn't a gift some people are born with and others aren't. It is a physiological state your brain learns to maintain, but most modern brains have been systematically trained to lose it. That one sentence explains your daily battle with your phone, your wandering thoughts, and that constant mental fog better than almost anything else. We're living in a historical mismatch. Your brain is a survival machine evolved for a world of scarcity, yet it is now plugged into a world of infinite high-speed stimulation. This mismatch has created a biological glitch we call distraction. Most people assume they can't focus because they lack willpower or have a character flaw. They think they're just lazy or uninspired. But here at Simple Psych Lab, we've analyzed the neural data, and it tells a completely different story. Your mind feels like a radio stuck between stations, not because you are failing your brain, but because your brain is responding exactly as programmed to an environment that is overwhelming its delicate circuitry. Today, we're going to look at why your brain constantly seeks the next hit of distraction, and more importantly, we'll give you 3 specific neuro-habits that retrain your nervous system to prefer deep work over shallow stimulation. To understand how to fix the hardware, we need to look at the neurochemical currency of your mind, dopamine. For decades, we were told dopamine was the pleasure chemical, but research from Stanford and Harvard reveals dopamine is actually the molecule of craving and anticipation. It is the chemical that says, something interesting is about to happen, go find it. In the ancient world, this was a survival superpower. A hunter spotting movement in the bushes got a dopamine spike that drove focus and investigation. A gatherer finding a berry bush got dopamine to remember the location. But in the modern world, this system has been hijacked by a trillion-dollar industry designed to exploit your biological vulnerabilities. Every notification, infinite scroll, and brightly colored icon is a digital berry bush giving you a massive artificial dopamine spike. The problem is, your brain runs on homeostasis. Think of it as a neurological scale. When you get a huge dopamine surge from high-speed distraction, your brain tries to balance the scale by tilting it toward pain. That is why, after an hour of scrolling, you don't feel satisfied, you feel empty, anxious, and even more restless. You've pushed the scale so far toward pleasure that your brain overcompensates, pulling back into a deficit state. This is the real origin of your constant need for distraction. You are not seeking fun. You are desperately trying to escape the neurological pain of your own dopamine crash. The first neurohabit to stop constant distraction is what we call the morning barrier. You've probably heard that how you start your day determines your productivity, but the neuroscience goes way deeper than time management. When you wake up, your brain transitions through several distinct states of consciousness. You are moving from slow, restorative sleep waves into a highly receptive plastic state dominated by alpha and theta waves. This is a critical window of neuroplasticity where your brain essentially sets its dial for the rest of the day. If the very first thing you do is grab your smartphone, you are committing a catastrophic act of neurological pre-programming, flooding your system with a high-velocity stream of emails, news, and social media notifications. Before your feet touch the floor trains your prefrontal cortex to be in permanent reaction mode instead of action mode. You are telling your brain the world is chaotic and demanding, and that its main job today is to scan for threats and seek quick hits of external validation. This sends your dopamine baseline into a volatile, high-frequency state, making it almost impossible to settle into deep, focused work later. The morning barrier is a commitment to at least 60 minutes of zero digital input. This isn't a suggestion for a digital detox. It is a clinical requirement for protecting your brain's delicate neurochemical balance. During that hour, your goal is to let your nervous system stabilize on its own internal rhythms. By choosing silence, movement, or simple manual tasks over high-speed information, you reinforce the neural pathways of self-regulation. You are signaling to your amygdala that there is no immediate emergency, and you are allowing your executive functions to take the lead. People who protect this first hour report a significant drop in midday mental fatigue because they haven't burned their entire cognitive budget before breakfast. The second neurohabit is the practice of micro-boredom. In today's world, we've effectively wiped out boredom. At the slightest lull, waiting in line for coffee, sitting at a red light, walking to the elevator. We immediately grab our devices to fill the void. We assume that stuffing every second with information makes us more efficient. But neurologically, this constant input blocks a vital process called synaptic pruning. Your brain needs moments of stillness to sort through information and decide what to keep and what to toss. When you never let yourself be bored, your mental workspace gets cluttered with cognitive junk. Microboredom is the deliberate choice to endure 5 to 10 minutes of total stillness a few times a day. It is sitting on a park bench without a podcast, or standing in line without a phone, and simply letting your thoughts exist without an anchor. This sounds simple, but for a brain hooked on high-speed stimulation, it can feel like physical withdrawal. You'll feel a surge of restlessness, an itch to check a screen, a fear you are missing out. That restlessness is actually the sound of your dopamine scale trying to return to zero. By resisting the urge to distract yourself, you train your nervous system to tolerate lower stimulation. You are lowering your dopamine threshold. Over time, this makes deep, concentrated tasks, like reading a tough book or solving a complex problem, feel less like a chore and more like a natural state. You are reclaiming the space between your thoughts, and that space is where true creativity and focus are born. The third neuro-habit is tapping into the completion loop. One of the most dangerous features of the digital world is the complete lack of stopping cues. In the ancient world, tasks had a natural end. You finished the hunt, you gathered the wood, or the sun set, and the light was gone. Your brain evolved a specific neural reward for completion. When you finish a discrete task, your prefrontal cortex sends a signal of satisfaction that lowers cortisol and settles your nervous system. But a social media feed or video game lobby is designed to never end. No stopping cues, just infinite loops. This prevents your brain from ever hitting the off switch, keeping you in a state of permanent low-level craving. To fix this, you have to train your brain to find dopamine in physical, finite actions. At Simple Psych Lab, we call this productive grounding. When you feel the itch for a digital distraction, choose a 5-minute physical task instead. Wash the dishes, organize a single drawer, or make your bed with precision. These tasks might seem mundane, but neurologically, they're powerful focus anchors. They have a clear beginning, middle, and end. When you finish, your brain registers a tangible result in the physical world. This triggers a release of natural, stable dopamine that tells your brain, "We achieved something real, we're safe to rest." Over time, your brain will start to prefer the quiet satisfaction of a finished task over the frantic, unsatisfying rush of a notification. You are teaching your reward system to value substance over static. This leads us to a fundamental reframing of discipline. Most people think focus is a battle of will, a form of suffering you must endure to succeed. But here in the lab, we see discipline not as a character trait, but as a structural decision. Discipline is simply the choice to protect the hardware of your mind. It is realizing that your attention is your most valuable currency, and it is currently being stolen by systems that don't care about your well-being. Retraining your brain to stop seeking constant distraction isn't about becoming a robot or a life without fun. It is about reclaiming your autonomy. It is about building a nervous system strong enough to handle reality without needing a digital escape every 30 seconds. When you protect your morning, embrace micro-boredom, and utilize completion loops, you aren't just becoming more productive. You are becoming more human. You are moving from being a reactor to a creator. You are choosing to live a life that is deep, meaningful, and calm. As we wrap up today's session at Simple Psych Lab, I want you to remember that your brain is a masterpiece of evolution, but it was never meant to navigate the modern world alone. It needs your help. It needs you to be the architect of its environment. If you felt understood by this analysis and recognized that frantic over-stimulated toddler inside your own mind, then you've found your tribe here. We believe understanding the secret biology of your thoughts is the first step toward a quiet, powerful confidence. If this resonated, please give this video a like. It helps the algorithm reach thousands of people staring at their screens right now, wondering why they feel so broken and scattered. Hit subscribe to join our community of thinkers and seekers trying to be a little kinder to their own minds. And tell us in the comments, which of these 3 neuro-habits will you start tomorrow morning? Sharing your intention makes it a real commitment, and it might give someone else the courage to start their own reset. Thanks for your time, your curiosity, and most importantly, for being kind to that complex machine that is your mind. Until next time, stay focused on what truly matters.